Sarah stood on the sidewalk in the pouring rain, holding her 4-year-old daughter Emma's small hand. They had only 2 suitcases and a trash bag with their belongings. Tears ran down Sarah's face, mixing with the raindrops. "Where will we go now, Mommy?" Emma asked, her innocent voice making Sarah's heart break. "I don't know, sweetheart," Sarah whispered, trying to sound brave. "But we'll figure it out together." Just 3 hours ago, Sarah's father had kicked them out of his house. He stood in the doorway with a cold, angry face. "I warned you what would happen if you couldn't pay rent this month," he had said. "I've been supporting you for too long. You need to learn responsibility." "Dad, please," Sarah had begged. "I lost my job last week. The restaurant closed without warning. Emma and I have nowhere else to go." "That's not my problem anymore," he replied without emotion. "You chose to be a single mother. Now deal with the consequences." He slammed the door in her face, leaving Sarah and Emma alone as the storm grew stronger. Now, as darkness came and the rain fell harder, Sarah checked her phone. Only 10% battery left. She looked through her contacts, wondering who to call. Most of her friends had stopped talking to her after she became pregnant with Emma. Her mother had died 2 years ago, and her father had made his feelings clear. Sarah called a local shelter, but a recorded message said they were full. She tried another and another, feeling more desperate with each call. "Mommy, I'm cold," Emma said, shivering in her thin jacket. Sarah knelt down and wrapped her own jacket around her daughter. "I know, baby. Let's walk to the bus stop. We can at least stay dry until I figure something out." As they walked toward the bus shelter, a car's headlights lit up the street. A shiny black car slowed down beside them and the window rolled down. "Excuse me," called a man's voice. "Are you all right? Do you need help?" Sarah pulled Emma closer. The man in the expensive car looked about 40 years old. He wore a business suit but had kind eyes. "We're fine, thank you," Sarah said automatically, though it wasn't true. The man looked at their suitcases, then at Emma's shivering body. "You don't look fine. It's pouring rain and your little girl is freezing. Can I give you a ride somewhere?" "We don't have anywhere to go," Sarah admitted, her voice breaking. "We just got kicked out of our home." The man's face softened. "My name is Daniel Harrison. I own Harrison Enterprises downtown. I promise I'm not dangerous. I just can't drive past a mother and child in this storm. Please let me help you." Sarah hesitated. She knew it could be dangerous to trust strangers, but when Emma sneezed, her motherly instinct took over. "I'm Sarah. This is Emma," she said finally. "And yes, we could use some help tonight." Daniel got out of the car with an umbrella and helped them put their things in the trunk. Once they were inside the warm car, he gave Emma a clean handkerchief. "Thank you, mister," Emma said shyly, wiping her nose. "You're very welcome, young lady," Daniel replied with a gentle smile. He turned to Sarah. "There's a hotel nearby. Let me get you a room for tonight, and tomorrow we can figure out what to do next." "Why would you help people you don't know?" Sarah asked, still suspicious. Daniel's eyes grew sad. "Because 12 years ago my wife and daughter died in an accident. I couldn't help them then, but maybe I can help you now." At the hotel, Daniel arranged a comfortable room and ordered them a hot meal. Before leaving, he gave Sarah his business card. "Get some rest. Call me in the morning and we'll talk about finding you a more permanent solution." Sarah stared at the card long after he left. "Is that man an angel, Mommy?" Emma asked as she snuggled under the warm blankets. "I don't know, sweetie," Sarah whispered. "But he's definitely a good person." The next morning, Sarah called the number on the card, half expecting it to be fake. To her surprise, Daniel answered right away. "I was hoping you'd call," he said. "How did you both sleep?" "Better than we have in months," Sarah admitted. "Mr. Harrison, I can't thank you enough, but we can't accept any more help. I'll find a job and figure something out." "Actually," Daniel replied, "that's what I wanted to discuss. Harrison Enterprises just opened a new community center, and we need an office manager. The job comes with an apartment above the center. Would you be interested in interviewing?" Sarah couldn't believe what she was hearing. "But you don't know anything about me or my qualifications." "I'm good at judging character," Daniel said. "And I saw how you protected Emma last night. That tells me everything I need to know about your responsibility and dedication. The rest you can learn." 2 weeks later, Sarah unlocked the door to their new apartment. The community center job was perfect. Organizing programs, coordinating volunteers, and managing the office. The pay was good, and the apartment was better than they could have hoped for. Emma ran from room to room, excited about having her own bedroom for the first time. "Can we stay here forever, Mommy?" "We can stay as long as we work hard and do our best," Sarah replied, still amazed at how their life had changed. Over the next few months, Sarah worked very hard at her job. The community center helped poor families with after-school programs, job training, and other resources, things Sarah wished she'd had when Emma was born. Daniel visited the center often, always stopping by Sarah's office to check in. She noticed how he would kneel down to Emma's level when talking to her, how his eyes crinkled when he laughed at her daughter's stories. One evening, as Sarah was locking up, Daniel appeared with a small gift bag. "What's this?" Sarah asked, surprised. "Open it," he encouraged. Inside was a beautiful frame with Emma's crayon drawing of the three of them, Sarah, Emma, and Daniel, standing in front of the community center. "Emma gave this to me last week," Daniel explained. "She said it was her family now." Sarah felt tears in her eyes. "Daniel, I don't know what to say. You've changed our lives." "You've changed mine too," he said quietly. "My house felt empty for so long. Now, when I visit here, I remember what it's like to have purpose beyond making money." 6 months after that rainy night, Sarah sat on a bench in the community center's garden, watching Emma play with other children. Daniel joined her, bringing her a cup of coffee. "I got a call from your father this morning," Daniel said. Sarah stiffened. "How did he find us?" "He saw the article in the newspaper about the center's success. Your picture was there as the manager." "What did he want?" Sarah asked, her voice tight. "To reconnect," Daniel replied. "He said he regretted what he did." Sarah stared at her coffee. "I don't know if I'm ready to forgive him." Daniel gently placed his hand over hers. "Forgiveness isn't about him. It's about freeing yourself. But whatever you decide, Emma has a right to know her grandfather, if he's truly changed." A week later, Sarah agreed to meet her father at the community center during a public event. When he arrived, she barely recognized him. He seemed smaller somehow, less scary. "Sarah," he said, his voice breaking. "I was wrong. So wrong. After you left, I realized what I'd done, thrown away my only daughter and granddaughter because of pride and stubbornness." Sarah remained silent, her arms crossed. "I don't expect you to forgive me," he continued. "But please know that I regret what I did every day." "You hurt us deeply," Sarah finally said. "Emma cried for weeks, asking why Grandpa didn't love us anymore." Her father wiped his eyes. "I was a fool. Your mother would have been so disappointed in me." When she heard her mother mentioned, Sarah felt her anger start to fade. "You can see Emma today. After that, we'll take things slowly." When Emma saw her grandfather, she hesitated at first, hiding behind Sarah's legs. But when he knelt down with tears in his eyes and opened his arms, she slowly moved forward and hugged him. Daniel watched the reunion from across the room, his face thoughtful. Later, when her father had left, promising to call soon, Sarah found Daniel in his office. "Thank you for encouraging me to see him," she said. "It wasn't easy, but it was right." Daniel nodded. "Family is precious, Sarah. Even when they make terrible mistakes." "You taught me that," she replied. "You became family to us when our own turned away." As time passed, Sarah and Daniel's relationship changed. What began as gratitude became friendship, and friendship grew into something deeper. Daniel never rushed her, always respecting Sarah's independence and her priority, Emma. On the 1-year anniversary of the night they met, Daniel invited Sarah and Emma to dinner at his home. Emma had fallen asleep on the couch after dessert, leaving the adults to talk on the patio under the stars. "I have something to confess," Daniel said, looking serious. "When I saw you and Emma that night in the rain, I almost drove past." Sarah looked at him, surprised. "Why didn't you?" "Because you reminded me of what I'd lost," he admitted. "And I thought maybe helping you would ease my pain." "It was selfish, really?" "That's not selfish," Sarah disagreed. "That's human." Daniel took her hand. "What I didn't expect was that you and Emma wouldn't just fill an empty space in my life. You'd create something entirely new. Something better than what I had before." "Daniel," Sarah began, but he gently stopped her. "I'm not asking for anything, Sarah. I just want you to know that meeting you two was the best thing that happened to me in 12 years. You gave me back my heart." Sarah squeezed his hand. "And you gave us a future when we had none." 3 years later, the community center had grown to 3 locations across the city. Sarah was now the executive director, having earned her degree in nonprofit management with Daniel's encouragement. On a beautiful spring day, Emma, now 8 years old, stood between Sarah and Daniel under an arch covered with flowers. Her grandfather sat in the front row, smiling through happy tears. "By the power given to me," the officiant said, "I now pronounce you husband and wife." As Daniel leaned down to kiss his bride, Emma cheered and threw flower petals into the air. Everyone there, friends, employees and families from the community centers, clapped and cheered. During the reception, Sarah's father approached the newlyweds. "I never thought I'd see my daughter this happy," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "And I almost threw it all away. Thank you, Daniel, for being the man I should have been." Daniel shook his head. "The past is past. We're family now, all of us." As the evening went on, Sarah found a moment alone with her new husband. "Do you ever think about that rainy night? How different our lives would be if you hadn't stopped?" Daniel held her close. "I believe some people are meant to find each other, even in the most unlikely circumstances." From across the room, Emma waved excitedly, her flower girl dress twirling as she danced with her grandfather. "Look at her," Sarah whispered. "From homeless to this in 3 years. It's like a fairy tale." "Not a fairy tale," Daniel corrected gently. "It's real life, with all its pain and beauty. That's what makes it precious." As they joined Emma on the dance floor, Sarah thought about their journey. From the darkest night of her life had come the brightest dawn. Sometimes help comes when you least expect it, and sometimes love grows in the most unexpected places, proving that even when it seems like the end, it can actually be just the beginning. 5 years after their wedding, the Harrison family had grown. Sarah and Daniel had welcomed a baby boy named James, and Emma was a proud big sister at 13. The community centers had expanded to 5 locations, helping thousands of families across the city. On a crisp autumn day, Sarah stood at the podium during the opening of their newest center. The crowd was filled with supporters, community members, and most importantly, families who had been helped by their programs. 10 years ago, I stood in the rain with my daughter, with nowhere to go and no hope left," Sarah began, her voice steady but emotional. "Today I stand before you as living proof that one act of kindness can change lives forever." She looked at Daniel in the front row, holding little James on his lap, with Emma beside him. Her father sat with them, now a regular volunteer at the centers and a devoted grandfather. "This new center will focus specifically on emergency housing for families in crisis," Sarah continued. "No parent should have to choose between paying rent and feeding their children. No child should ever have to wonder where they'll sleep at night." The crowd erupted in applause as Sarah cut the ribbon. Later, as families toured the new facility, a young woman approached Sarah, clutching the hand of a small boy. "I read your story in the newspaper," the woman said shyly. "I'm in a similar situation. My husband left us and we've been staying with friends, but we can't stay much longer." Sarah took the woman's free hand in both of hers. "Then you've come to the right place. What's your name?" "Lisa," the woman replied. "And this is my son Tyler." Sarah knelt down to Tyler's level, just as Daniel had done with Emma all those years ago. "Hi, Tyler. Would you like to see where the playroom is while your mom and I talk?" As Emma took Tyler to the children's area, Sarah guided Lisa to her office. "I know exactly how scary this is," Sarah said, "but I promise you this isn't the end of your story. It's just a difficult chapter." That night, as Sarah tucked Emma into bed, her daughter asked a question. "Mom, do you think Mr. Harrison would have helped anyone who was standing in the rain that night, or was it just us?" Sarah thought for a moment. "I think he would have helped anyone in need. But I also think there was something special that made us connect. Maybe the memory of his own family, or maybe just the way love sometimes finds us when we least expect it." Emma nodded thoughtfully. "I'm going to be like him when I grow up. I'm going to help people who need it." "You already do, sweetheart," Sarah said, kissing her forehead. "I saw you with Tyler today. You made him feel welcome and safe just like Daniel did for us." Later, as Sarah and Daniel lay in bed, she told him about Emma's question. Daniel smiled in the darkness. "She's an amazing young woman, just like her mother." "She wants to be like you," Sarah said, resting her head on his chest. "No," Daniel replied, stroking her hair. "She wants to be like us. The people we became together, better than we were alone." As they drifted off to sleep, Sarah thought about the journey that had brought them here. From that desperate rainy night to this moment of peace and fulfillment. It hadn't always been easy, but every struggle had been worth it. Sometimes the worst moments in life lead to the greatest blessings. Sometimes family isn't just the one you're born into, but the one you create through love, compassion, and second chances. And sometimes, when you think you've reached the end of your story, you discover it's only the beginning of a much more beautiful one.